2024 Fire Commission meeting. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so tonight is a special meeting for a whole host of reasons. One, again, we talked about this at our last meeting. Dallas Kelsey has stepped down from the commission after many years of service. As we said last time, Dallas, as a public servant to this island, has done an incredible job. Township supervisor, school board member, and then sat on this fire commission. So we are very appreciative of all of his efforts. And again, if anybody sees Dallas Kelsey getting his Starbucks in the morning at Kroger's or getting his newspaper, thank him for all of his years of service for our community. In replacement, to the right of me, we have the pleasure, the Township Board, based upon recommendation of the Fire Commission, has appointed Duncan Murdoch to take his position. Everybody should know Duncan Murdoch, but obviously he has a long-standing history with the island, but also as our fire chief for how many years? 22 years. So we are very fortunate to have him on this commission. No one knows more about the fire department than him and the history that he has. So Duncan, welcome aboard. We're glad you're here. And then tonight is Carl Bletcher's last meeting as our township liaison. He has decided to spend more time with his wife and do more chores around the house per his wife's request. So he is no longer going to be on the board come, have you already had your last meeting, Carl?
Yes, sir. November 20th is the last, is the swearing in of the new board.
Okay. So
yes, thank you.
Tonight is Carl's last meeting as our liaison. Carl, we appreciate the time and effort that you've invested in the commission and supporting the cause and the purpose of the fire department and everything that we've done at this table. So we appreciate that. Moving on, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like maybe one addition, and that is to make permanent our meetings at 5 o'clock.
All right, sure, we can do that as an action item. We can just add it just to determine that our meetings are going to be set for 5 p.m. Is there anything else other than that? If not, a motion to approve the amended agenda would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Carl, is there support?
Support.
Support by Bringard. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those say nay. Motion carried. We have meeting minutes from September 2024 in our packet, dated actually September 12th. Once you review them, if there's any corrections or modifications, please present them. If not, a motion to approve as presented would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Bletcher. Is there support?
Second.
Support by Bringard. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Expenses, Chief, for both September and October 2024.
As you review the two budgets, you will find that the fire department is in line with the expenditures. As I stated before, the fire department operates on 2 millages, dedicated millages. One is for operations, one is for equipment. I have stated in the past, and I'll let the public know again, that in my assessment, the fire department operates 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, on approximately $500,000 of variable costs. That's the cost attributable to the admin staff salary and the firefighters' compensation. So when you look at $500,000, 365 days a week, 880 calls a year, it's an outstanding, let's say, dividend to the Grozio residents. So everything is in line.
Questions is that both for September and October, Chief?
Yes.
All right. Are there questions or comments with regards to expenses for either September or October 2024?
I move we accept the report.
Moved by Bringard to accept the report. Is there a second?
Support.
Second by Bletcher. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Discussion items. Chief's report.
Chief's report. One of the most paramount, let's say, duties of the chief is to ensure that recruitment is kept at a pace to accommodate the 14% increase in calls in the last 3 years. The fire department has made it a priority to recruit well, to maintain the services that the citizens deserve. And as a result of that, 2 years ago, when I became chief, we had 15 members. That included myself. Today, I'm glad to say that we interviewed 2 fine gentlemen yesterday, which will bring the fire department up to 28 in just 2 years. In that time, we've had a very low attrition rate. I think out of the 13 or so, 14 that we interviewed who came on to the fire department, we've only lost 1 member to attrition. That's extremely low. We're at 28. I've always said the optimum number that I believe is in the 30s, especially to keep up with the increase in costs, increase in calls. We are doing a very good pace when it comes to recruiting. That's one of my number one obligations. That will fall in line with number 3. I'm sorry, number 5. I will be holding a hiring event again December 7th at the Grosville Fire Department, 12 to 3. That's a Saturday. Anyone interested joining the fire department, you can come and meet me at the fire department, 12 to 3. We can talk about your obligations on the fire department, the whole culture of the fire department. So I extend that opportunity to anyone in the public who's listening. We will also post it on social media to publicize that event. That will be the 3rd one that we have held, and I can tell you, I think we've gotten maybe 5 or 6 new recruits out of those events. They're simple, but they have been a good crop of new firefighters.
Chief, is it December 7th or December 21st?
7.
Okay,
12 to 3 at the fire department.
okay.
Number 2, continuing discussion items. Open house. Open house was October 20th. Open house is something that I think the firefighters love. They love to see all the young kids there. I enjoy it. It gives me an opportunity to talk to anybody who wants to talk. It's my opportunity to explain the history of the fire department, the day-to-day activities of the fire department, and actually the heavy load that the firefighters and the EMTs are taking on. And there were a few hundred people there. That was October 20th. The weather was fantastic, and so that was a great event. It's been historically an event that the firefighters at the fire department have had every year. It went off well. Number 3, the training tower repairs are 99% complete. That's been a, let's say, project that has been difficult to complete, not only because of COVID. That construction project was something that, we got very, very few bids for. Sometimes I don't think Chief Murdoch or Chief Boudry even got a bid because nobody wanted to come to Grosville to do the job. But we finally hired Pullman Construction. They've done a fantastic job. I was up on the roof today, and that training tower is complete. So that went off really well. I'm getting a call now. I apologize. Let me shut this off.
Chief, real fast, just for those that are watching, the tower, just explain what the training tower is and where it's located.
The training tower is not only a training tower, it's our hose tower. It's in the back of the building. It goes up 4 stories. We hang our wet hose to dry the wet hose, but the stairways we use to kind of fabricate live scenarios for training the firefighters. On occasion we'll, fill that with smoke. We will act as if that's, maybe a obstacle course for the firefighters. And basically it's a 4-story stairwell that we use for all sorts of trainings it's primarily our hose tower that we hang wet hose for, but we adapt it for a training tower also.
All right.
So it's in the back of the building. It's 4 stories. It looks like a elevator stairwell, so to speak. So primarily you can't see it from the roadway, but
Okay.
it's a necessity at the fire department.
Thank you.
Number 4, our live burn flashover training was held here behind Pirates Cove, November 2nd. That was paid for by the Wayne County Training, fund, paid in full. We had 19 of our firefighters participate in that training. We had firefighters from other municipalities come and participate in the training. We had 6 training officers from Oakland County Community College come out, 2 hours of classroom, and then 5 hours of live burn training in the trailer. And basically, it's an outfitted trailer about 50 feet wide, and they, let's say, it's very hard to explain, but they put a barrel, 50-gallon barrel, in this trailer. They surround the inner parts of the trailer and the top parts of the trailer with plywood particle board. They get the trailer up to a level of heat with live fire that mimics, let's say, flashover in a building where flames, well, it's primarily smoke that is fuel. Smoke is not, it is a combustible item or a combustible, let's say, chemical that when it gets heated, it will burn like any other fuel. And the object is to create the environment where you can observe flashover before it occurs. So it's a teaching technique for the firefighters to be able to observe the, let's say, elements of flashover before they happen in a controlled environment that is safe. Okay, so that's flashover training. Creating an environment where flashover is about to occur and does occur inside this trailer, giving you the opportunity to educate yourself what flashover it looks like and what flashover looks like before it occurs. So that was a very good training. It was the second time I've been through it, and we have a lot of new people on the fire department that have never been through it, and very, very educational and an experience for them to let's say, have under their belt.
And Chief, just to add, I know we talk about this all the time, your training, obviously you and Duncan have had probably 8,000 or 9,000 training episodes over the last, your careers, but we train our volunteer fire men and women usually on Wednesday night, and once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month on an ongoing basis, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the second live burn we've had in 3 months. I don't think other fire departments have 2 live burns in 3 months. We had the live burn here out at the airport. We had that burn training here just last weekend. So.
But they're trained consistently, regularly.
Oh, yeah. We carry the same licenses that other fire departments do, career fire departments. We have the same training, school training, but it's up to the fire department to then promote and continue training within your fire department. We train every Wednesday night, and we train on weekends. We train whenever it's necessary. Fires don't always occur on sunny 75-degree days. They occur all the time. So you try to emulate the various types of environments that you're going to run into live. So, I think it's extremely important. We trained last night, so.
Right. No, I think that's one of the things that puts us ahead of most departments is that it's consistent, it's regular, and it's an expectation.
Well, yeah,
So-
it's a large expectation. You practice like you play.
Right.
And Here, we're talking about lives at stake. We're talking about property at stake. So that's a very serious obligation, and it's not to be taken lightly.
Right.
It wasn't taken lightly with all the other chiefs that I worked for, and it's not taken lightly by me. So I take it very serious, and I commend the firefighters for being a part of it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Questions of the chief? Go ahead, Jerry.
Chief, you highlighted 2 cardiac arrests, 1 September, 1 October. How'd they turn out?
well, I can say that both patients were returned to what we call ROS. ROS is a return of spontaneous circulation. So both patients were delivered transported to the various hospitals we went to with return of spontaneous circulation. Again, the acronym is ROS. I won't say what hospitals they were taken to, and I don't know their conditions today, because once we take them to the hospital, we pretty much prepare for the next call.
But you got them there alive.
Yes, absolutely. And alive is a big word, so I can say they were returned to spontaneous circulation.
Good for you. That's great.
Jerry, any other questions?
No, that's it.
Anybody else from the commission? Questions of the chief under discussion items? I appreciate it, Chief. Anything else, Chief,
No.
from discussion?
Nothing for discussion, but the one action item you want to return to 5 p.m.
Right, so if we can move on, action item, obviously, all the commissions try to keep their meetings on a regular basis so that the members of the community know when they're being held, as well as for the commissioners, so they can put that in their calendar. Sometimes it's difficult for the fire commission just because of things that come up, but we want to set our meeting time for 5 p.m., and we try to hit this Thursday. Is this the second Thursday of the month? Yes. Yeah, second Thursday. So we try to hit second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Sometimes that doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, then we notify through the township. But if there's a motion to set our time for our commission meetings at 5 p.m. and the second Thursday of the month, then we can add that to the minutes and update the clerk's office. Is there a motion in that regard? Moved by Bringar, is there support?
I'm going to wait for Commissioner Murdoch to support this.
Is there any other further discussions about that? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Public comment. Affords the opportunity for anybody in the audience to come and ask questions of the commission or the chief. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come to the podium and do that?
Mr. Chair, as there is no one here, I'd like a moment to make a few comments, limited to 3 minutes, as I understand.
Absolutely.
I want to take the time to publicly express my thank you for all the fine work that goes on. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Bringard for a decade, certainly Chief Murdoch for too many decades. Mr. Koblak, I've known you for probably 3 decades, if not more. And certainly, John, you and I go back quite a ways, and I've had the pleasure of working with you on the SOGs. I cannot imagine a better group of people to say goodbye to tonight. This fire department is second to none. Kurt, I remember when you were able to get the 2 pieces of equipment for the ambulances so we could have direct telemetry to the hospitals. Significant amount of expense was not possible without you, and we give a lot of notice and a lot of recognition to people, but I think that was huge. Duncan, 22 years, I think barely scratches the surface. You have been to so many calls, I think, that you belong in the Guinness Book of World Records with all the work that you've done. I'm confident that if I were to say 95% of them at your peak would probably not be an understatement or an overstatement. I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done. Jerry, you've been on the department for, I think you were a firefighter a long time ago, and you've continued to serve, and I can't imagine a better model for people when they look at community with all of you gentlemen, and I would say the same thing about our current fire chief. John, you've done a terrific amount of work. I've had the pleasure working with you for over a year with the SOGs, and I've learned so much about fire and so much about what our men and women do in the department. Kurt had mentioned earlier that we look at licensing and we look at how good they are. John mentioned that it's the same credentials with quote unquote the career departments. I have personally received 3 knocks on the door responses for my parents, one for another family member. My wife moved here from another community, and she tells me that she has absolutely no qualms about any of the services that are delivered by public safety. Her mother lived in Hawthorne and had services, I believe, 3 times. And it has been a remarkable run. The men and women in that department do a tremendous job. And when I look at the number of calls for September, 64, October, 60, fire alarms, 5 in September and 12 in October, the plethora of events that cause firefighters to turn out, not just at 70 degrees and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but also when it's below 0 in the middle of January and everything in between. This is just a great community. The fire department, firefighters are second to none as far as I can see in the state of Michigan. They are just terrific people. And I want to simply say, to me, it's very personal, very, very personal to be able to say thank you and thank all of you gentlemen and thank everyone in the fire department for the services they deliver. And I said the other night as I was leaving the board, may God bless each of you, may God bless each of our firefighters, and may God bless Grozio. And thank you.
Thanks, Carl. We appreciate the words. Obviously, it's been good having you on the commission because you've supported the mission of the fire department and the men and women. So that has always been appreciated.
And if I could say something.
Sure.
Carl, I thank you myself for being on the commission, and before that, you were a strong supporter on the board. I came into the chief's position with some turmoil at the fire department, and it was just an adjustment that the township board had to make. But I can tell you, I thank you for your support, supporting me, supporting the firefighters. I have a lot of knowledge about the effort that they're pulling, and you've always asked me, how are the calls, how frequent, and you were always willing to listen. I would tell you they had 4 calls one day, the next day they went out on another 3, and they're around the clock, and you were always concerned and always appreciative of what the firefighter EMTs do, and you've been a great help to pushing public safety as a priority while I've been the chief, and I'm sure you did before that. But I thank you very much for being a heavy hand in promoting the fire department and public safety. Thank you very much.
All right. Just one last thing, Chief, make sure that they advertise the December 7th hiring event through the township as well. Clearly those have been productive. I mean, when there's a little bit of turmoil going on, our numbers were dropping, and the fact that we're at 28 is remarkable, and it just shows that you and others have put a lot of time and effort, not only having these events, but actually showing potential candidates the benefits and the opportunities, right? So I know someone that I'm close to went to a hiring event, and after that hiring event, signed up, right? So it shows they work, and they work well. So anything else from the commission with regards to our meeting for tonight? I'm sorry? Bringard moves to adjourn. Is there support?
Support.
Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks. Have a great night.